All right, with no pomp and circumstance whatsoever, we are now live. It is Smack Talk here on a Friday night. Rick Ucchino, SPIII, and the legend himself, Dutch Mantell.
Hey.
We are flying blind at the moment right now.
Hey, Rick, what
all
happened
of our settings got deleted.
What happened to our music?
It got deleted out of the system.
Are you serious?
I never lie, sir.
I know who did it, but I'm not going to say.
I'm not going to bury anybody. You know, it wasn't Sid.
Then you don't belong in the wrestling business.
Yeah, it wasn't Jose. You know, it wasn't Jeremy.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't Dutch. Wasn't myself.
Wasn't even Kenny Bolin.
It wasn't you.
Was
I'm
it
not
Sid?
I'm not gonna bury the person who did. It wasn't Mike, our social media guy.
Okay. All right, we'll take your word for it. But we're going to have some investigations into this. I want you to know that.
Oh, we'll get to the bottom of it.
Sportskeeda said they're going to order an investigation to see what happened here, and as well they should, because I was kind of
investigate.
I kind of like that opening. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden we don't have it. You don't miss it till you don't have it.
My boy Blue commenting early saying it was budget cuts. That's why it was gone. That's the reason why that is not here. We appreciate everybody chiming in, Steve and Chris and Dante and let's see, Molly. Don't worry, we'll get there. Everybody chiming in, Jonathan, Ozzy. I'm hoping for a bounce back tomorrow. Justin saying some stuff about Vince McMahon. We'll get to all of that, guys. Trust me, this is going to be a.
We're going to blast some people tonight, so don't miss it.
We got 3 hours of wrestling to talk about, but of course the big story this week, yet another round of WWE releases, and it gets more and more confusing and more head scratching. We got different reports flying all over the place. We got people saying now that Keith Lee had attitude problems, and we got people saying it might be vaccine issues, and we got Nia Jax saying that's BS and this, that, and the other thing. So all we know for sure is 18 more people got released yesterday.
How many?
18 more people stretched across every brand, including BFAB, who just signed a new contract last week, was brought up with Hit Row in the draft, and now she's gone. We'll get to that as well.
Oh, so that explains a question I was going to have.
Yeah, what happened to BFAB?
Yeah, she wasn't there. She wasn't there tonight.
Yeah,
I said, "What the hell?"
There's a good reason why she wasn't there. She ain't with the company anymore. She's
okay.
No longer employed.
What release shocked you the most? Oh, he's acting like he has to think about it, like he hadn't thought about it all day.
There were a lot of shocking ones, but if I had to guess, I would say Nia Jax, to be completely honest with you. She's got
bingo.
She's got the family ties. She was one of the most protected stars in all of the damn company. Like, she never lost.
She's in the bloodline.
Yes.
Yeah. She's actually in it. To let her go.
That one to me was the most surprising. Like,
what about Karrion Kross? Could you kind of see that coming?
No, I didn't, because Karrion Kross is tailor-made for a main event, main roster push. And they just effed it up. They had two guys signed, sealed, and delivered. Can't miss. Just take them from NXT, put them on the main roster, and let them flourish. And then for the sake of trying to reinvent the wheel, they just said, all right, well, okay, so we have this dominant guy in Karrion Kross. He hasn't lost a match in a year and a half. All right, so let's put him on Raw, and we're going to have him lose to Jeff Hardy in 2 minutes. Okay. Oh, by the way, we're going to take away Scarlett. We're going to take away his entrance. We're going to take away all the flash and pomp and circumstance and everything that makes him appealing. We're going to make him completely generic. Okay, he's going to lose some matches, and he's still NXT champion, but that doesn't really freaking matter. Then he's going to drop the belt. Then we're going to give him a stupid gladiator mask, and he's going to lose some more. And then, okay, this isn't working. He's not getting over with the audience, so we're going to repackage him. Nah, screw it. We're not going to repackage him. We're just going to release him.
Mm-hmm. That's the way it went.
And
It happened in about 6 weeks, right?
It literally happened in maybe like 3 months. This is probably the greatest NXT call up failure of all time, in my opinion. I know some people said before the Ascension, yeah, they were a dominant tag team, but they were a dominant tag team when they didn't have a tag team division in NXT. This dude, Karrion Kross, went through the entire Mount Rushmore of NXT. He beat every top guy from Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Finn Balor, Pete Dunne. Didn't matter. He beat them all. Adam Cole beat them all in a 5-way. Then he gets to the main roster. He loses in 2 minutes. And then 2 months later, he's gone from the company. I don't know if anybody realizes this. The last 6 NXT champions, half of them are gone. Half of them aren't with the company anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Keith Lee, Karrion Kross, Adam Cole, and you got 2 more that's contracts is about to be up in another month and a half. And Johnny Gargano and Kevin Owens, Kyle O'Reilly's contract is coming up in December. As far as what WWE wants, which is the bottom line and the money at the end, $256 million that they got in the last quarter, that's great. That's fine and dandy. But in the court of public opinion, they are losing this battle right now because they just released all this talent. They just released someone who was dealing with mental health issues on the same week that AEW celebrates John Moxley for making a choice to put himself into rehab. Nia Jax is making a similar choice with her mental health and wanting to take time off, and they fired her. That's just, they look horrible. And not only that, you got Keith Lee, who went through his whole ordeal this year with COVID. He got his fiance
died. The dude almost died.
Wait a minute. You guys are acting like they're supposed to have a heart.
Oh, no, I'm not.
We know they don't have a heart. It's business to them.
And here's the other thing is, like, they clearly have blinders on. Like, they don't pay attention to shit outside of their own little bubbles. They don't pay attention to what the fans want.
That was a bad word.
Or what the modern day wrestling fans want from a modern wrestling show. They're not paying attention to anything outside of their own mindset, and they have tunnel vision. They clearly have tunnel vision. And Dutch, this is one thing I really wanted to ask.
I'm agreeing with you.
This is something I really wanted to ask you because a report came out. I believe it was Wrestling Observer. Again,
it's not true. I didn't do it. I didn't write that bad check.
All these different reports coming out. I'm trying to make sure I get it right. Wrestling Observer said today that Karrion Kross lost favor with Vince McMahon because he failed to get over. How the hell is Vince McMahon going to fire Karrion Kross because Vince McMahon screwed up Karrion Kross? You had a surefire thing. You strip him from, you take away his valet. You take away his really freaking cool entrance, anything that made him stand out. You gave him generic entrance from WWE 2K21. You made him lose in his opening match. You didn't give him anything special to work with. All of his matches were short. All of his matches were the same. You put him in some goofy gladiator mask and a gimp suit. And then you're going to try and repackage him again and say, nah, he didn't get over with what we gave him, so he's gone. How? Why? In what world does that make sense, Dutch?
Oh, you're asking me, does it make sense? It doesn't make sense to me because why even bother with the whole training center if you're just going to ignore what they produce? See, Vince didn't have this problem years and years ago because he had the territories training all these guys. So when a guy got over in a territory and went all around, now Vince knew, or Vince Sr., or whoever brought him in, that this guy was good to program with and he could carry it. I think Vince has lost faith in his own team and he doesn't trust them. So therefore he's going to make these decisions unilaterally and he won't consult anybody else. Sorry for the people that it happens to, but you're dealing with Vince. How old is Vince now? 75? 75 years old?
Something
like that. 72, 73.
And I think he got his feelings hurt. He took over NXT, didn't he?
Yeah, because Triple H is still out with his ailment right now.
There's definitely more of his fingerprints on it. Him, Kevin Dunn, and Bruce Pritchard for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one that surprised me most of any of them, Karrion Kross, he surprised me. Even Mia Kim, she surprised me. Yeah. But it was Nia Jax. That was the one that surprised me because, like I mentioned a while ago, she had the bloodline. She's related to Roman and the Usos and all those guys. And letting her go, that surprised me a lot. Who else did they release that was kind of a decent name? I had it written down.
Ember Moon, who was on NXT, and former NXT champion, former NXT Women's Tag Team champion. Eva Marie, who was just on Raw. They just re-signed. They just re-signed her to come back, and then they already let her go.
To me, that one screams this didn't work out the way that we thought it would, because when she left, like in 2016, she was getting heat. Like even back in her NXT days, she got nuclear heat. Any babyface had to do to be over with the crowd was stand next to Eva Marie. And I think they were hoping she would be able to generate that when they brought her back. And it just wasn't happening. Like people didn't like her, but it wasn't, that overall, massive heat that you want to get from, your top heels. And I think they just were like, well, this isn't really working. That's me speculating. It could be something completely different. I know you got the reports about the vaccine status, and 4 or 5 superstars didn't want to get vaccinated, so they were let go. I don't know how true that is, but that's out there now. Like I said, there's a lot of things that are flying out there. The one that really, really surprised me, though, if we're going to talk about NXT, is Frankie Monet. This you let go Taya Valkyrie after 6 months and 6 matches. You just signed her in February. She was main roster ready. When you brought her into NXT, you could have teamed her up with John. You keep John Morrison in the company. How would you like to be John Morrison right now, who is on the other side of the world on a European tour, and then your wife gets let go from the company that you're working for?
And he was probably the one that talked her into coming to the company when she could have went to AEW. Like,
so this was the girl that was with Impact.
Yes, Taya Valkyrie.
I remember her. So. I mean, I didn't pay a lot of attention there because I worked there for a year and they just give me a check and I would go to creative meetings and just sit there like this and go, yeah, whatever you guys want, man. So,
but I mean, and so Dutch, this is something that we've talked about before with WWE just
about me.
No. Just WWE hoarding all this talent.
They're warehousing them. Yeah.
When you look at from 2020, right after WrestleMania, when the first round of cuts came out, to now, they've released over 120 wrestlers. That's just wrestlers. That's not, office staff. That's not catering staff or PR staff or any of those other people that they've let go in the last year, 18 months, 2 years. 128 wrestlers, and they still have enough to staff 4 brands.
It's unbelievable. It really is. So, but all they do, like we're talking about, they warehouse these talent for 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. They can release somebody, and most people don't even know who they are. I mean, a lot of people don't even know who they are. Because do you watch Sid? Do you watch NXT?
I do.
Do you watch it, Rick?
Yeah.
Well, ask me. I don't watch it.
Do you
no, but I do see the ads for it, but the ads even seem weird to me. I mean, if I was a wrestling fan and I see that, I go, I don't get it. It's almost too slick to be enjoyable because all the girls look like strippers and everybody is. I mean, if I want to see that, just go down to pay $10, go to a strip club while you can drink watching it. But I do not understand it. Now, I read a while back, and tell me if you heard the same thing. Vince and company, they don't actually want independent wrestlers anymore. They want actors. Is that right or not?
Actors, athletes, they want stars. They want they want people that can command a presence, that have personality, that have athletic ability, that they can train to be wrestlers. They don't want
they want a piece of clay that they can mold instead of a finished product.
They want somebody like Braun Strowman. somebody who has a something special about them that they believe that they can mold and turn into a future world champion, which again makes no sense why they let go Braun
No,
Strowman when
I was
they
about
already
to say,
had Braun Strowman.
that worked out great for Braun Strowman, huh?
I mean, it did until they ruined him.
Man, if you would have told SP3 in January that Nia Jax and Braun Strowman wouldn't have a job in November, I would have called you a damn liar. I would have slapped you with the white gloves and challenged you to a duel because I think you were trying to play me because it's preposterous that they would let go of those two.
I will pay you to put white gloves on to slap Rick. I'd want to see that. I'd send you a tip.
There we go.
After the 2 weeks I've had, come on, a slap in the face would be welcomed at this point. But man, I'll throw Bray Wyatt in there, man. Talking about budget cuts and a guy who makes you money, hands over fist. And that's the other thing that comes out is now all of a sudden, some of these guys were difficult to work with. Some of these guys had attitudes backstage. Or Dutch, is it just some of these guys didn't like their booking? They realized it didn't make any damn sense, and they tried to defend themselves, and all of a sudden now they're a problem to work with.
Okay, well, you have a whole staff, and we've counted them in SmackDown. Sometimes they would use 14 guys or 14 talents or 16 out of 60. So you're not going anywhere if they're not doing something with you on TV. And the guys, if they express that, I don't know who they expressed it to, but the little creative people would run right to Vince and say, well, he's kind of hard to work with. And, see, it doesn't take a lot to get you run off in wrestling. See, a creative is around. They said, well, what about that Rick Ucchino guy? And so I said, oh, he's okay. And I go, that Rick, I don't have to say up or down, but that Rick, like I'm not really in sync with you. And that sometimes is all it takes to get you just almost, when you get canceled there, you get canceled, you get run off.
Yeah. And it's funny because Jon Moxley put that in his book that came out this week about Kevin Dunn. Like Kevin Dunn had a problem with him and kind of said something similar to what you just said, Dutch, and that messed him up for the rest of his career in WWE.
Yeah. By the way, that book is fantastic. I'm about 120 pages in. It's only like 270. I didn't know what to expect. It's absolute chaos, but it's hilarious. It is really, really good stuff, by the way. So
good.
That's out now. But yeah, man, this is just another way. At a certain point, like enough has to be enough. But we keep saying that. But every time they have a quarter earnings call where they talk about how we made another $250 million, then they release 20 more people. At what point? Dutch, you talked about, on our extensive show prep meeting earlier about how you had a new theory on this. What is your new?
Well, the new theory is if you look at wrestling now, WWE, and I'm gonna compare it to AEW.
Sure.
I saw WWE show tonight. Of course, then we watched AEW. There's so much difference between those two shows. It's night and day. AEW, they don't go for all the gimmicks that WWE does, but their wrestling is actually so much better. I mean, you can watch these guys and admire what they do. WWE looks like just a bunch of entrances, and especially the girls back and forth and they're going in and they're doing all this kind of stuff. And after a while you go, come on guys, do something. Yeah. But I don't know. I think AEW, did anybody read the Wall Street Journal's story about AEW and WWE?
No.
Well, I tried to read it, but since I don't subscribe to Wall Street Journal, they wouldn't let me read it. But they said this is the closest thing WWE has come to a real fight since WCW.
Well, yeah,
and it's the closest thing. And I do like, we're going to talk about them a little more extensively in a little bit, but AEW, they actually showcase a lot more talent than WWE does. They don't have the same guy appearing every week on the same show.
They got too many people. not enough airtime. That's part of it. That's part of it. But they do a good job of getting their main people out there. They don't always have to wrestle, but getting their main people out there. They're not filling up 16 minutes with a Roman Reigns entrance. They're not, and granted, two different types of shows.
They don't take 16 minutes to do a Roman Reigns entrance, Rick. They only take 7.
But literally, I missed the first 6-7 minutes of the show, and I didn't need to rewind it back because I saw Roman Reigns in the ring, and I was like, "Oh, I just missed his entrance." I know it now.
You missed the opening credits, the recap from last week, Roman Reigns entrance, another highlight. And then, him standing in the ring talking about running naked on a beach somewhere last week.
No, that's when I caught it. That's when it actually got interesting. I was like, but I knew because I've been so conditioned of watching the show every week, and no, Roman can't get to the ring within 2 minutes. It literally takes the whole 10 minutes for opening segment that he's supposed to have for him to just make an entrance. But I totally I was saying it before, but I love that Dutch is saying it now. AEW is really if you want to see a wrestling show, I think we have a 2-hour pre-show where it says wrestling on the marquee, but they don't always try to be wrestling. And then you have a 1-hour show that is a wrestling show. Especially the last 2 weeks, me and Dutch, we talked about it last week that was far and away it was a 10-8 round for AEW last week. This was a little bit closer because they have Roman on SmackDown, but just the wrestling and the promo that we got on AEW was just so different from what you saw the 2 hours in SmackDown.
Since we're talking about SmackDown, they usually try to do something in that first segment to keep you tuned through the whole show. Mm-hmm. Today was light. I wasn't really tuned in to see Roman or the Usos fight the New Day. That didn't excite me at all, and because I knew the finish. You knew Roman was going to come in there somewhere,
right?
And even though the Usos they lost. They beat him up, but that's so predictable.
It was. There was a couple of things that I appreciated out of SmackDown. Well, at least one big thing that I appreciated out of SmackDown tonight, and I saw a lot of people saying that, talking about this show sucked and yada show blah blah and lack star power. Look, they took a lot of talent from Friday Night SmackDown, and at least tonight,
boy, they did.
They took a lot away, but you know what? At least tonight they put the focus on a lot of different people that don't get a whole lot of time on screen. We saw a lengthy promo from Shotzi Blackheart tonight. We saw Hit Row do something with Sami Zayn tonight. We saw Ridge Holland even put over Sheamus for some weird.
Hey, he would have been better off not even doing anything on TV. I think that interview hurt him.
A tag match between Garza and Carrillo and Cesaro Mansoor. That was weird. Ricochet getting some time to shine tonight. I mean, there were a lot of different people out there who aren't these mega stars. They could have easily just filled 15 minutes with Charlotte and Sasha tonight doing a promo exchange and called it a day. They weren't even on the show tonight. And frankly, I didn't miss them tonight, to be completely honest with you, because at least they tried to showcase different talent. Does that mean I liked everything I saw tonight?
No.
Oh, hell to the no. Oh, hell no. Not even close. But I appreciate them trying. And I do like the fact that they built a show around Xavier Woods. That's something that excites me about this, is they are actually elevating Xavier Woods after he won King of the Ring.
So, Dutch, you were responsible for the one thing me and Rick agreed on, and that was Xavier Woods winning King of the Ring to set him up as a challenger for Roman. So how do you feel in this week where it seems like our booking idea, where we're the mega powers, we finally united, it's finally coming into fruition on what we're seeing on TV?
No, I understand the point. You're getting an opponent for Roman, but I don't think it'll do anything. I really don't. I don't know why. Maybe he's too ingrained in the New Day. I mean, and he was always used in the middle. But see, if Roman went against Xavier, I don't think anybody would expect him to beat him. But with Brock Lesnar, you kind of expected that.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. So
nobody thought Xavier Woods would beat Bobby Lashley either, and Xavier Woods beat Bobby Lashley this year. So I mean, look,
it's a work, Rick. Go buy a ticket.
I think this whole storyline lines up great. You're gonna have Roman Reigns versus Big E at Survivor Series in 2 weeks. They're not. I actually like the fact that they're not cramming Survivor Series like promos down our throat yet, because we all know what Survivor Series is about. We know what's coming up in 2 weeks. They don't need to cram the fact that it's brand supremacy, man. So I appreciate that.
I wish they would find themselves a little bit in the middle, because we are on 2 episodes left where at the end of the show, I was just like, okay, this is kind of different. So it's cool. But I'm still like, maybe I should mention Survivor Series is coming up, because they act like it hasn't even happened.
We already know what the card is, Sid. It's Becky versus Charlotte. It's Roman versus Big E. It's going to be Shinsuke versus Damian Priest. It's going to be a 5-on-5 for the men and the women. There's 5 matches right there. Done.
I want to know, is Happy Corbin on it? That's what I want to know.
Oh God, I hope not. Man, I think that me and Dutch have been through so much emotions with Corbin. We crapped on him.
They've killed him now. I'm agreeing with Rick.
They did.
They've killed him deader than hell.
It's
Dutch,
like Rick wrote Madcap Moss. He wrote it to ruin Happy Corbin. Yes,
you did. I think you did.
No, I did not. I was looking forward to Happy Corbin. I hated bomb ass Corbin. But Happy Corbin's worse than bomb-ass Corbin. By the way, you know who we don't hear? Oh, this guy's difficult to work with backstage. You know who we don't hear those rumors about?
Who?
Baron Corbin, because that MFer says yes to whatever WWE says for him to do. They tell him to go trot out with some suspenders and belt-wearing dork and crack bad jokes to try and get heat, and he says, "Thank you, sir. Give me another paycheck."
I don't blame him.
I don't either, but
because they know, the guys that are smart know that you can't fight that system.
Yeah.
You just go with it and just breeze right through it. The whole time I was there, whatever you need, just tell me, just give it to me. And I didn't say, this is stupid and this stupid. I just didn't even ask them. I just go and take some stuff out, and they never said anything. So, and I think part of that is I was in the business so long, and the agents would never say nothing to me. The little writers would never say, and Vince never said anything to me. So, a lot to be said for, being around for a long time. You get respect.
Well, so we've heard how difficult it is to get a hold of Vince McMahon on.
Oh, you can't. You can't. Well, it's according to who you are.
Yeah.
You if you were Roman Reigns, he wouldn't be hard. Or if it was Brock Lesnar, it wouldn't be hard.
Yeah.
So, but if Rick Ucchino went in there, and they say, "Hey, Vince, Rick Ucchino from Sportskeeda wants to see you." What the hell? Throw him out.
I was going to say,
if me and Sid were there, we'd help him. We'd just chuck you out the door.
If I was backstage at a WWE show and I was knocking on Vince's door, they would have me arrested, because they'd be like, "Who the hell is this, and why are they backstage?"
Well, they could.
Probably so.
And some PR guy would get fired. That's pretty much what would.
But I am agreeing with you on SmackDown tonight. They did take a pile of what I thought would be a pile of crap and made it kind of work. It was not a bad show tonight. But you know who I'm starting to like now is McIntyre.
Oh, I love Drew.
Yeah, he was very good tonight, and even tonight, Ricochet got over better by just being in the same ring with McIntyre and holding his own. And then he came back with the interview. What's the guy's name? Muhammad?
Mustafa
Ali. And I thought they were going to team up, but they didn't. And he called him a jerk and walked off.
Yeah, that made sense.
That did make sense.
Yeah.
He's right, because the MO for Mustafa Ali since he turned heel has been, I'm going to lose matches and blame everybody else on it. And he did that with Retribution. He did it with Mansoor. I thought they kind of ended the See, I thought him and Mansoor would fight in Saudi Arabia, and then they would come back and they would team up again. Like, I really didn't think they were actually breaking them up. I thought there might be a way to kind of turn them back because I thought they worked really, really well together. And now we're getting a makeshift team of Cesaro and Mansoor, which I'll talk about that.
I don't get that at all.
That was so random, and it just screamed
together.
It screamed, we don't have enough people to make up more tag teams. That's what that screamed to me.
Yeah, pretty much. It's almost like, shit, maybe we shouldn't have split up Mansoor and Mustafa Ali.
Maybe we should stop splitting our tag teams.
You think, but I don't know. Maybe Mansoor and Cesaro are going to be done because Mansoor, the more he teams up with people, the more they lose their damn matches. This was one of the weirdest things to me. I was going to save this for later, but I'm watching this match, and Cesaro has a hell of a hot tag run. He gets the swing going, and then he literally gets shoved over and gets covered for a pin, and Mansoor has to break that up for some reason. So a shove over when Cesaro hasn't been hit with anything almost ended the match. Then he gets up and he gets hit with 2 kicks and the finisher, and he's done. He got beat so damn fast. He went from hero to zero like that. And I'm like, is this the same Cesaro that went toe-to-toe with Roman Reigns just a few months ago? What the hell are we doing?
The same Cesaro that beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, and everybody was like, oh man, this is his star-making moment. No, he was a challenger for a month. Then he went right back to the back of the line, and it made this whole finish to this matchup. I was like, Mansoor is right there. Like, why can't you just beat Mansoor? This made me look at his when is Cesaro's contract up? Because that's what this screamed to me. It's time to go.
He just re-signed this year.
Oh man, why do people keep making these mistakes?
But
here's a mistake.
Here's the thing, Sid. It doesn't matter when his contract is up. It doesn't matter if you just signed a new deal, if you just got drafted to Raw, if you just got repackaged, if you just got a brand new storyline, if you're a champion, if you're one of the company's top money-making guys. It doesn't matter. It
doesn't matter.
No one is safe. You can lose your job at any damn time. If any of these cuts have told us anything, it does not matter.
All that contract guarantees is your money. As long as you're there, and you can be let go of for any reason at any time with I guess what's the 90-day notice, 30-day notice, or whatever they got.
It's so different for people. Most NXT stars, it's 30 days, main roster 90.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on if they sign the paperwork correctly.
Well, it's I had a lot of faith in WWE before. But unless something changes, they will continue to make money because of their syndication deal and their Saudi Arabia deal. But their shows won't be long-term enjoyable to watch. Yep. Because now WWE is hit and miss. And AEW, as much as I hate to say it, I mean, they are bringing you wrestling matches because that's who he's hired. He's hired wrestlers, not actors, not stunt people, not, well-known athletes, but guys who get in there and dig. So I'm going to say something about AEW, and then we can go back and talk whatever.
Yeah,
the interview tonight between Punk and what's the kid's name?
Eddie Kingston.
Can't remember. Oh, it was very, very, very good. And when they got to fighting, they pulled them apart. Yeah. WWE, you would never see a pull apart.
Nope.
Never. And that used to be a standby finish. We'll just pull them apart. And people used to get excited, and they had great face shots of Eddie and Punk when they were going out. So, and I think I'd almost watch the pay-per-view to see that match.
Oh yeah, that sold me. Like,
yeah.
If nothing else, forget Adam Page and Kenny Omega, forget the TBS title tournament, forget anything else that's going to be on this damn show. I'm buying it for that damn match.
Yep.
I'm buying it for that damn match. The thing I love, this might have been my favorite promo exchange in the last 10 years. And you want to know why? It's because it wasn't just a bunch of written lines or an exchange of catchphrases or a bunch of shit that didn't matter. There, you could cut the tension. You could feel the realism. I felt the tension in my damn basement in Cincinnati, Ohio. Where was Rampage tonight?
St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 damn states away. I felt the tension right here. There was a lot of real stuff in that promo, real backstage behind it. You could tell by the language that Eddie Kingston used. There was some real shit there, and it works.
Because that's what wrestling is supposed to do. It's supposed to put you in that zone. I've talked about it before. Is it real? Is it not? But they're in this zone so much. You got to believe, hey, these guys they mean this. So, and it was a good interview too. And I don't know, I think they probably just went in the back and made up a bunch of stuff. And
Maybe.
and no, that's what they did. I know what they did. And they winged it. Of course, they had, cut points where it'd say this, but they knew exactly what they were doing. And then remember CM Punk, he kind of got a little more serious toward the end. And you knew something had to happen. So I was expecting that, but like in WWE, if 2 guys are fighting, nobody ever runs in, pulls them apart or anything. But here they had all the referees, and I was thinking, even watching the referees, I was going, referees is not enough. Just as I said it, here the other guys come down the ramp. So they pulled them apart. So now the people that saw that, if you felt it in Cincinnati, of course, you're shell-shocked because your Cincinnati Bearcats are not in the top 4. But we won't talk about that. But if you felt that tension in Cincinnati, the people in the building, they felt it more because they seemed to be really, really in sync with that segment. And it was very well done.
It just felt authentic. There's a level of realism that not many people can get to in wrestling, and Eddie Kingston gets to it probably the most consistent that I've seen in quite some time. And I think that there's a nugget of truth in all of Eddie Kingston's promos because he did that with John Moxley, with Moxley bringing up his mom and stuff. And I think the nugget of truth to it was, I think Punk's lines was given to him by Eddie Kingston. Because if you know one thing about Eddie Kingston, he's gotten a level of success like this year and last year that he never thought he could in professional wrestling. And he's a very self-deprecating guy. So I feel like he's the one that told Punk, tell me that you and all the legends of the independents saw greatness at me, but I failed you guys, because that's how he felt until he got signed with AEW last year.
Yeah. Well, and the 2 guys in the segment, Punk and Kingston, they both felt it too. Yeah. So all we got to go in the ring, and they said, hey, and all they said was, hey, let's shoot it.
Yeah, and
so they were actually shooting out there.
Yeah, it started off slow. Like, for me, it started off weak. Like, Punk was pissed off because Kingston interrupted him, and he didn't have this match last week because he wanted to, he wanted an apology and wanted to settle his business, and that's why he didn't enter into the eliminator tournament. I thought all that was weak sauce, and I thought the tiny violin line was this. It almost lost me in the beginning because it just started off on a weak note, and then went from 0 to holy shit balls in like a blink of an eye. All of a sudden, Kingston went full shoot style promo mode and sucked me in, and it was the best thing I've seen in quite some time from there on out. So yeah, that's how it's done.
But see, they can take a situation like this and revisit that same situation in 3 months. I mean, I don't know how long this is going to go. But if they hated one another at one point, very easy to regenerate or relight that fire.
Sure.
And then they could put that in the background, revisit it when they need to in about 3 months, or when this one dies down, wait a month or two, a couple months, and go back to it.
Let's stay on Rampage here for a little bit, because I did think that it was the better show tonight by a mile. We talked about SmackDown opening up with, 15 minutes of talking and entrances and this, that, and the other thing. 2 different style of shows. I feel like SmackDown, it's like shoot, how are we going to fill 2 hours tonight? And Rampage is more like, crap, how are we going to get everything in an hour tonight?
That's what it looks like.
It does look like that.
Yes.
100%.
So Rampage opens up right out of the gate. It's Bryan Danielson. It's Anthony Bowens. But before we even get to the match, God damn Max Caster. Holy hell. That rap, that line. If you didn't catch it, if you don't know who Bryan Danielson's father-in-law is, it's John Laurinaitis. And that line where he says, I end more careers than your father-in-law.
No, I end careers faster
than your father-in-law.
Than your father-in-law. That was a great line.
Savage. Absolutely savage. I don't know if it was poor taste or not, but no,
it was great.
Lord.
No, it was great. Yeah.
It was great because he was playing to the audience.
Yeah.
And they know that. Now, like most people who don't know it, the line doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But for those who know, that makes them feel like more kind of in the know with it.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And they'll understand it.
In AEW, they have the more wrestling savvy smart fans. They don't have a half stadium full of casuals. That kind of line dropped in WWE would go completely over half the audience's head. Max Caster was playing to the crowd that he knows. They knew exactly what he meant by that. Taz popped. Danielson smiled. I mean, I couldn't pay attention to the first 10 minutes of the match because I'm just sitting here like, did he just effing say that? That was good stuff. But yeah, Brian.
So who is the guy that Danielson wrestled? Bowens?
Anthony Bowens.
Bowens, and who's he with?
Max Caster. So they're a tag team.
Acclaimed.
Okay.
The Acclaimed, yes.
That was a good match. That Bowens he's good. Very good.
He's an East Coast guy. He was on the independents over here. Like he's openly gay, and like he's very much like an advocate for representation in wrestling. So he's someone that I've seen since like before his time in AEW. So I'm happy. I know this was a dream of a lifetime to be in there with an all-time great wrestler like Bryan Danielson, and he had a good show. He looked very strong in the defeat.
Oh, he did.
And Bryan Danielson, again, I think this is the 7th match with a 7 different finish for him in the matchup. He just keeps doing it.
Yep. So you said Bowens. Is that his name? Bowens?
Bowens.
So you say he's gay, which I don't care about. What do you mean representation inside the business?
Well, representation of the LGBTQ.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes when you put politics in with your job, it gets all messed up. So I wish him success, but I don't know. What do you think, Rick? What's Rick doing? Rick, are you smoking a joint?
Yes, I am.
Did you see him bend over like that?
Yeah. He was like,
I'm looking for representation of potheads.
He's doing drugs.
That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. Now.
Hey, you got Riddle.
You got hammered, buddy.
I'm along the same line of, I come from a long line of RVDs and, Matt Riddles and all sorts of stuff. No, look, be who you are. Be proud of who you are.
Okay. Did you like, what's the girl that worked with the blonde-headed girl? She was on second tonight.
The Bunny and
Velvets?
Not Bunny, we're on SmackDown. Who was the girl they interviewed that used to be, is her name Knox?
No. Oh, sorry. You're thinking
Shotzi.
of Shotzi.
Shotzi,
yes.
Did you like that interview?
I did. There were some things that I'm not too keen on. Nothing to do with her delivery or the promo that they gave her, but what it might mean for her moving forward.
Mm-hmm. I hate when I have to be the negative person on here because people say I'm irritating when I have to talk about the negative.
I have seen some comments in the section. Yes.
Yes, I've seen.
Wait a minute, I'm reading one right now. Boy, that Sid is an irritating bastard.
But I just have to say, Shotzi Blackheart is giving me very much Becky Lynch vibes. Not saying that she's as good as Becky Lynch, that she's as over as Becky Lynch, but she's someone that's very talented, that's very likable. And when you try to make someone who's very likable and an over babyface a heel, it just comes off so cringing, forced, and that's what that promo screamed to me. That promo screamed to me, this is the most forced thing she's ever been told to do or told to say out loud, because it was like, I gotta put my chest up, and I gotta have a heel voice when I cut this promo. And
She
it's just
sounded like she wanted to cry through the whole thing. I don't know if that was intent. Like, I'm gonna be so pissed off about you know how like you get so pissed and you're on the verge of crying because you're so pissed. I think that's what she was going for.
But it was like she was told to do that. It wasn't. She didn't give me the feeling that was her emotion. It was that was the emotion they wanted her to express, and therefore I read it. I read it on the piece of paper they gave to her. Like, act emotional. Like, that's how obvious it was forced.
Yeah, so I'm with you on that, Sid, because I've interviewed Shotzi before. I know people who know her personally. She is just an absolutely lovely human being. So it's one of those things where if you don't have that side to you, it is hard to express that out onto the screen. So yeah, maybe she'll get into it. She has done some acting, so maybe you find her groove here. It's really the first time we've seen her as a heel, period. She's pretty much been a babyface her entire time in the company.
What happened to her partner?
They got split in the draft because reasons, and we haven't seen Tegan Knox since. She's a member of the Raw roster now. But that's the part that I did like about Shotzi's promo is it was all, ever since I got here, I've been losing. I lost my tag team partner. I lost out on shots at the championships, even though we were freaking winning matches. I lost last week to Charlotte because Sasha Banks screwed me out of it, and that was my boiling point. And now I'm going to run over everybody, and I don't need a tank to do it. And that's the thing that scares me the most is they're going to take away her damn tank. They're going to take away her tank. They're going to rip away everything that makes her unique and makes her likable, and then she's going to get the Karrion Kross treatment. She's going to get the generic heel treatment, and then I hope to God she gets this over, because if she doesn't,
I do too.
We see the ramifications of what happens if you can't get their shit over.
They get mad at you.
Yeah,
they get mad at you.
But see, I don't get it, because it's creative who's telling her what to do through Vince. But if they don't get over, they're blaming the talent.
Yeah.
So the talent is out of a job, not the people that wrote the idiot stuff down.
Nope.
Well, I was glad to see tonight my old buddy Happy Corbin. And
were you?
I was
sure?
Well, not really, but
hang on.
And then they put him in there with the Vikings. Oh, you have something else to put in there before we get to this?
Well, yeah, we're kind of bouncing all over hell here.
Well, we're waiting for you to moderate. See, he's not doing his job.
I was in the process of moderating, and then you jumped me back to SmackDown. I was going to bring up Bunny and Red Velvet and finish out Rampage before we went back to SmackDown.
Okay, go ahead.
So, anywho, So Bunny and Red Velvet. This one was kind of short. I was surprised this one was as short as it was.
It's a girls match.
Yeah, but this ain't WWE. This is AEW.
But it's two girls that are not two of their best workers. If this was Thunder Rosa, Ruby Soho in there, yeah, they probably, or Karashida and Serena Deeb, how they tore it up on Dynamite 2 weeks ago. But if it was them, yeah, they would have got 10, 11 minutes. But if it's Red Velvet, who's still, learning, she's still a little bit green in the ring, and the Bunny, who has been improving, but still not one of their best workers, I think that's why they kept it short for good reasons.
There was a spot, I think it was a spinning heel kick, where they missed it by 1.5 miles. I mean, the camera work really, really helped them out. But I think the Bunny was pretty much flat on her back by the time that, Red Velvet's leg was coming through. So there was some spots that were off in this match. But I'll tell you what, Red Velvet took a couple of really, really stiff shots, or at least she did a great job of selling the fact that she, going into the stairs, going into the turnbuckle, she made that look like $1 million.
Yeah.
But again, kind of talking about what we were with Cesaro earlier, she got her ass kicked this entire match until the finish. It was literally 0 to hero in this instance where she got her ass kicked the entire match, and the bunny went from I got this. This is perfectly fine to, oh, I've been hit with one move, final slice. That's it. I'm done. 3 minutes later. But I don't really like those kind of finishes. It's almost like they were told to go home. Like they got the crap, we're over on time. Let's go home. But congratulations to Red Velvet. She's gonna get squashed by Jade Cargill. So yeah, good.
Hey, they're continuing a rivalry that I think is smart. It's a building block type of rivalry for their women's division because you got Jade Cargill and Red Velvet. They're both kind of green, but Jade Cargill had her first matchup against Red Velvet and Cody Rhodes with Shaq. She had her first singles matchup against Red Velvet. So this is kind of to see where she's at again in her development. She's going to go against Red Velvet again. Going to beat her then again. So I think in the future, the long-term goal should probably be for Red Velvet maybe to be the person to beat Jade Cargill for the TBS championship if she wins this tournament.
We're kind of agreed Jade Cargill's winning this whole damn thing, right? Like it sure feels like that.
I have to be biased, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm gonna root for Thunder Rosa because she's my favorite female wrestler, my favorite wrestler in general in wrestling today, Thunder Rosa. So whoever wins Jade Cargill versus Thunder Rosa in the TBS Women's Championship Tournament, that's who's gonna win the title.
I'm rooting for Thunder Rosa as well, and that's not because she literally followed me on Twitter while we were doing this show, which was kind of surprising. So hey, sweet, but I'm not just rooting for her for that. I think she would be great for that.
Oh, you a bunch of biased journalists.
I just
My
think.
God. All it takes is to follow you on Twitter.
She already follows me and True Hill Heat on Twitter. Just want to say that.
I'm stop following you right now. You just lost a follower, Rick.
I believe it. I look at it every day and watch my count go down. Usually after I bitch about something that the Reds or the Bearcats or the Bengals do, I lose about 4 or 5 followers. So, but I still think I just get this feeling like it's Jade Cargill's to lose. Even though I am rooting for Thunder Rosa in this one. Then we go to our main event tonight, which I thought was the match of the night. They saved the best for last throughout both shows, and there was some good matches on SmackDown tonight, albeit pretty short. John Silver and Adam Cole have some damn chemistry with one another.
Yeah, they do.
These two hit hard, fast, and fluid, and it was a joy to watch. Like I can't really. Usually I could pick out 1 or 2 spots in a match where I'm like, holy hell. Every single move in this match had me convulsing almost and having some kind of verbal cue come out of my mouth. I don't know how many swear words I said in this match, but it was over a dozen. Like this was just.
Where is John Silver from?
I know he's based out of the East Coast Indies. I'm not sure where he's from exactly, but I know he was over here on the East Coast in the Indies, him and Alex Reynolds before they just got brought in to be like do some extra work. They were just supposed to be a tag team to lose on Dynamite, and they got a job because of it. They worked hard and they got a role, and John Silver's over with the fans.
Yeah, he is.
Yep, well, he knows how to get over. If you watch what he does, he plays to them, and he'll recognize them. So he's creating a relationship with them. You can't teach somebody to do that. They either do it or they don't. Yeah. And this guy he's good at. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and here the thing I love most about this was actually Adam Cole at the beginning selling the concerto that he got on Wednesday.
Yes.
Because I thought this was really, really stupid to have Adam Cole wrestle 2 days after taking a concerto. Because this is a move that WWE has used quite often to write guys off for months at a time. And Adam Cole was wrestling 2 days later. So I was at least happy that they were talking about him, having going out and having to get medical clearance, and then he was showing signs of dizziness in this matchup. They made it make sense. And maybe Christian just doesn't throw a concerto as well as Edge. Maybe. I don't know. But
that was it.
It was nice to see them at least make an attempt to make it make sense, because I did think it was kind of dumb that Adam Cole was wrestling 2 days after taking a concerto.
He did something tonight. He held his knee for a second. Did you see that?
I think he was trying to sell like he was woozy. He was holding on to his knee.
Okay,
like,
that was it.
to not fall over. But I liked it because
But I liked it too.
It protected him in the matchup, and it gave you the doubt that John Silver could win because he was still selling the after effects of the concerto.
There were a couple of spots there where I thought John Silver had the match won. Like I was like, but damn, are they really going to put John Silver over Adam Cole? That's a good match. When you have a match like John Silver and Adam Cole, where 99% you think Adam Cole's going over, and you can make you honestly believe that the other guy's going to win halfway through or almost towards the finish, that's a good match in my book.
Well, I think some of those writers, the creative team, they're watching AEW. Either they're gonna tape it and watch it. But if they go back with some of these ideas that they're seeing there, they may fire them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This was a wrestling show tonight, and it was really, really damn good. Everything on Rampage, top to bottom. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more time. I'm nitpicking, a little bit more time for Bunny and Red Velvet, but I mean, this was a good show tonight.
Sid, let me ask, what was the ratings last Friday night when we talked about it?
I think
remember Raw, SmackDown was on FS1.
Yeah. They did over 1 million on FS1, and I think Rampage did over 500,000 again.
So they both went up.
Yeah, they were. Well, I think Rampage was basically even with the week before, but yeah, WWE was definitely up.
So SmackDown carried 1 million people to another channel.
Yep.
Yes,
that's pretty strong.
It is.
That is strong.
That's great numbers anyway you slice it. Andrew, why does all of WWE's belts now have Velcro on them?
Because that's the way they make them.
I'm gonna go with budget cuts. Velcro is cheaper than the little metal snaps. So
blame that con guy.
That is gonna be the new line from now on. Anytime WWE does anything, it's gonna be
budget cuts.
Budget cuts.
Even though I think of their new CFO or whoever the hell they hired today got like an $800,000 signing bonus or something. Didn't I see that report? Budget cuts. That's
budget cuts, ladies and gentlemen.
Budget cuts. That's exactly what it is. All right, so let's go back in and fill the gaps in SmackDown. We talked about the opening segment with the Bloodline and the New Day. Then we go to Naomi, Shayna Baszler, and the saga with her and Sonya Deville continues. Dutch, do you think this thing needs to reach a conclusion sooner rather than later?
No kidding.
It's starting to drag.
We predicted it 3 months ago, right or not?
Yes.
But hey, let's pull the trigger on it. Let's do something with it. Let's either juice it up or kill it. One or the other, and let's go.
This screams to me they don't have an end game.
Nope.
They just started doing stuff, and now they're like, well, we're stuck in the mud. We don't know where we're going with this anymore. I thought it was at least a somewhat creative way to screw Naomi this week with Sonya coming out and
to me,
bullcrap rules. But
well, yeah, to me that pisses your fans off. I don't think it gets any heat on her. What thing pissed me off is the $1 million fine for Brock Lesnar. The $1 million fine.
You still can't get over
I'm
that,
still saying $1 million.
I missed something last week.
Yeah.
He got fined $1 million.
Well, I saw SmackDown. I watched a little bit of it, but yeah. So you didn't like the $1 million fine for Brock Lesnar being Brock Lesnar?
Highly, highly excessive. $100,000 maybe. $50,000, okay, I'd have been okay with it. But $1 million. Who gets fined $1 million ever?
Well, WWE, I don't know if you know this, but they've been kind of trimming the budget there a little bit. So maybe they were just trying to get.
Well, they might need to make up for those budget cuts.
Yeah, I mean, Brock Lesnar probably pulls in something about $1 million per appearance. So he basically just traveled to SmackDown for free. So that's pretty much what it was. They just didn't give him his game check. That's pretty much what that was. And they were like, go home for the rest of 2021. We gotta have a good fourth quarter. So go home for the rest of the year.
All right, I'm out.
That's pretty much what that was. I'm hoping anyway, getting back to Naomi and Sonya, that this ends at Survivor Series. Like that has to be what they're at least stretching to it. These two are going to have an actual match. Do it at Survivor Series, right? Like,
they got to.
What are we waiting?
We do realize that this is the same show that we are still dealing with the aftermath of the Nakamura versus Corbin feud. This is the same.
I have dreams about it. Oh my God, not again.
This is the same show that they had the Mysterios. They were doing a whole storyline with Dominic turning on Ray. Yeah. They get drafted to Raw, and they still doing the same damn storyline. Like, these storylines, that's why I want to be invested in this, but something tells me not to, because I don't want to be disappointed in investing in the storyline and then there's no payoff. And right now, that's what it feels like. At least Sonya had the promo before the match where she kind of teases that she's going to have a one-on-one matchup with Naomi. But if it happens on a random episode of SmackDown and not a pay-per-view, then what the hell have we been doing for the past 2 months?
Got to.
I really thought that this was going to lead Naomi into the bloodline, but the fact is, Naomi, well, unless they're turning Sasha Banks babyface now with Shotzi being a heel, Naomi's the top babyface on SmackDown in the women's division right now, which is, again, mind-boggling that they heard the reactions that Shotzi got last week and didn't do a complete 180 on her heel turn, all right? Like, you need popular baby faces on SmackDown right now, and you took one of your most over people, one of your most likable people, said to your point earlier, and went, nah, we got to make her heel because we need Sasha Banks to be a baby face so she can go up against Charlotte Flair. I guarantee you that's the thought process.
Yeah.
They're splitting Shotzi's throat to set up Sasha and Charlotte.
Welcome to pro wrestling. That's what they do. They will sacrifice one lamb for another. They don't care.
Yeah.
But I hate to see it because you're hurting the fans because they didn't want to boo Becky Lynch. Didn't want to boo. They don't really want to boo the boss. They don't want to boo her either.
No.
So they got a bunch of baby faces running around, and Charlotte Flair is the big heel. But I don't understand it. With all the talent roster they have, just go in there and dig and pull out somebody. How did you think territories used to make a living years ago with talent that was not ready? They told the story and have them do interviews that were believable, kind of. See, when I booked Puerto Rico, I didn't have any damn super actors down there. I just told good stories. And I didn't piss the people off with cheap finishes. And it worked. It took me about 3 months, but it started to work, and the story got over.
You were letting people be themselves or be the character that they wanted to be most of the time and tell the story that you wanted to. You also knew what story you wanted to tell. That's one of the key problems with WWE. I don't think they don't know what they want to tell sometimes.
I don't think Vince, if they told him the story, I don't think he remembers it.
Yeah.
It's what I think. They said, we're going to take it to this. Yeah. And he just maybe agree till he wakes up one day and said, what the hell are we doing? Or he has a bad day and he changes everything. So, and that's the way it works there.
Here's another thing that kind of popped into my head earlier because I was thinking about Naomi possibly going to the bloodline, right? And then I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, we really don't, honestly, at least anymore on the main roster, see factions or groups that are mixed with men and women anymore. We really don't see it. Hit Row had BFAB for all of 2 weeks, and then she was gone. When they brought up Sanity, they split them up. They kept Nikki Cross down in NXT, and then they brought the rest of Sanity up, and then they were off TV in a month?
Yep. They separated Carmella and Enzo and Cass they've been doing this for five years now.
I'm honestly surprised that Mia Yim lasted as long as she did in Retribution, and I think that's only because nobody gave a shit about Retribution.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Karrion Kross, they didn't bring his. Is that his wife?
Yeah,
they didn't bring her
fiance. Yeah. So usually they're all right with valets. Like if it's for some reason it seems like they don't want to have a group that includes a female in the group on the main roster anymore.
But even
it's
weird. even if they have valets that have proven to be successful, they go away from that way too often. Because Selena Vega should have still been with Andrade and Angel Garza when the time that they separated her from them. Like they've been very much doing this where female in WWE has to be their own character, has to be their own wrestler. They can't be a manager, a valet. They can't be in a stable. They have to stand on their own and be their own character for the 3 weeks that they entertain doing something with them until they just decide that they're just going to be in the shuffle and be used whenever they feel like, oh, you know what? We haven't used that person in a while, so let's use them. Where's Toni Storm, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, where is she? I was going to bring that up. I was going to watch the show for her, and she disappeared. And they were advertising another girl.
Xia
What
Li.
was her name?
Xia
What was
Li.
her name?
Xia Li.
Where is she? She hadn't.
No, she's just getting the vignette treatment right now. So I'm sure.
Yeah.
Did she have one tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
she
didn't
had
see it.
one. It was in between like the 4th or 5th promo and the first half hour. It was right after Reigns berated the Usos backstage that they ran the Xia Li vignette. So it was right after Naomi and Shayna Baszler. Then we had Reigns berating the Usos. Then we had the Xia Li vignette. And then we did the Ridge Holland promo. And then we did the Shotzi Blackheart promo. There was a lot of damn talking on this show tonight. We had talking before matches. We had talking after matches. We had back-to-back-to-back promos. We had promos in the middle of every damn match almost tonight. I understand you have like a fresh roster and you're trying to set, at least make the appearance that you're trying to set storylines and you're trying to feature some new talent and you're telling your audience who this new talent is. But my God, they didn't shut the hell up tonight. It was a lot of talking for a 2-hour show. They crammed in a promo every second of the night tonight.
Those bastards.
I think maybe it's because, I like the final hour that we have to review and I like Wednesday so much. But that's what I said before. I wish that WWE would find a medium between pushing a pay-per-view and not doing it at all, because they either do one or the other. They shove it down your throat. They tell you to get the WWE network or the cock so many different times throughout the show. It becomes annoying and you become numb to everything, or they don't mention it at all. Like tonight, where on the other hand, on AEW, they spent an hour really pushing their pay-per-view. They got one more week and 2 more shows with a Dynamite and Rampage next week. And you would think that Full Gear was this weekend. By the way, they were pushing it on Rampage, where WWE, they got 2 weeks before Survivor Series, and I think we're just going to see the start of the build-up next week on Raw and SmackDown.
Here is the entire timeline for from the start of the show. We open up Bloodline promo with the New Day. Then we get Naomi and Shayna Baszler, which had a Sonya Deville promo at the beginning and in the middle of. Then we get the Usos and Roman Reigns backstage, Xia Li vignette, Ridge Holland talks, Shotzi Blackheart talks. We get the Garza Carrillo Cesaro Mansoor match, which had a promo in the middle of it. Then we get that pointless backstage segment between Aaliyah, Jeff Hardy, and Sami Zayn. And then we go into Drew McIntyre.
What was that?
I don't know.
No clue.
Utterly pointless. It was to get Aaliyah and Jeff Hardy on television tonight. That's what it was. And then we go to Drew McIntyre, who started the damn match with a promo exchange with Ricochet. That's how the show started.
If it wasn't for the main event and Ricochet and Drew, I would have totally forgot there was wrestling on this show.
Yeah.
And then we had Happy Talk after that.
Oh my God. And that Happy Talk was just give me the match. I knew when the Viking Raiders came out to the ring that this was going to become a match, because I was like, they're in their ring clothes. They're in their gear. They're not sitting down. This is just going to lead to a match. How about we get this over with? I don't need to hear Madcap Moss's awful freaking jokes that he read in Comedy for Dummies that he got from freaking Barnes and Noble. Like, I don't want to hear all this crap. Just get to the goddamn match. And then the match wasn't even worth a damn.
This is that. You know what they did?
I like the power slam on Moss, and he couldn't get him up.
Yes.
And he had to go up again. Boom.
You know what they did, Dutch? You know this. Like they'll get new people in promo class, and they'll make them tell a joke in front of everybody.
Yeah.
They basically turned that into a gimmick and gave it to Madcap Moss. Like
Well,
that's
they
what
missed the
did.
mark. They missed the mark with that one.
Oh, and by the way, after the match with the Viking Raiders and Corbin and Madcap, then we got the Sami Zayn and Hit Row promo exchange. Which, by the way, I
don't get it.
I actually thought that was pretty funny, to be honest with you. Watching Sami Zayn like try to do a full rap with them before they started dissing him, I actually laughed out loud at that because Sami Zayn is awesome. But after that, I immediately remembered that B-Fab wasn't there, and I'm like, this just feels wrong.
I felt like that from the backstage segment. I was just like, this just doesn't feel the same. And then I listened to the music, and I was like, I believe they're gonna cut out every part of her in their theme song now.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I'm gonna call him Monday and tell him that you didn't understand it. So expect a call from Vince about Tuesday.
All I ask, don't feed me bullshit.
Say, hello, Rick.
All I ask,
you son of a.
Sense. Don't tell me lies. Don't feed me BS because nobody's buying the budget cut line anymore. Like it's you don't cut 128 talent for budget cut reasons when you make $350 or $250 million a quarter. Nobody's buying that. Don't lie to me.
Aren't they changing their whole operation?
And that is part of it.
And they don't need those people?
I would argue they need those people right now because you got a whole bunch of young people in NXT who ain't ready for the main roster. You know who could help you out on the main roster? Frankie
Listen,
Monet,
if you don't if you go to developmental and you're not ready for the main roster in a year and a half, you need to go anyway.
Some of these people they cut just signed like 3 months ago. Trey Baxter came into WWE with a lot of fanfare.
Yeah.
Like one of the next top stars, and then they let him go. He was there for like 3 months. Barely used him.
I'm selling my stock right now if they're gonna do that.
I don't know. But
heck with it.
Now, granted, everybody bitches, moans, and complains when these kind of cuts go down, but we don't know what these people are like backstage. We don't know their work ethic.
Not 128 of them, seriously.
Correct. Yeah. But there's some of them.
Not 128.
I agree with you. Yes.
I say out of 128, you may have had 10, maybe 15 who were difficult to work with. But hey, when you start a new job, you're not difficult to work with. You'll do anything they want you to do.
Yeah.
So that is just a line. Well, I think the line might be they don't understand or they're not getting it. That would be more believable than they're hard to work with.
But you can't find that many people. Can't find that many people hard to work with. That's just ridiculous.
At all.
I think they're hard to work with or they have attitude issues. When we hear that from people inside the company, to me, that screams they got to the point where they were tired of their bad booking and started asking some questions or saying no. And I think that's what you got. Hell, we saw Keith Lee. Somebody on Twitter this week wrote like the Bearcat Lee was Keith Lee's idea. And he actually found it and was like, no, it wasn't. Karrion Kross said nobody wants that shit helmet.
And I told everybody, people try to tell me, oh no, they're doing a tribute to this old African-American wrestler. Do you think that WWE cares about an African-American wrestler from the
60s?
Early 1950s? Are you kidding me?
Bearcat Wright?
What?
Bearcat Wright was the only...
people actually believe that.
No.
The only thing they did, the only thing they did right was debuting the Bearcat character in Cincinnati, and then they took him off TV and they put him back on dark matches.
Well, they have made a few mistakes along the way, as we're here to point out. So,
tell you one thing they didn't make a mistake with.
I'll tell you what they didn't make a mistake with tonight is not having that damn Nakamura there and damn the guitar player. I was so glad to see them gone. And I swear to God, after that match is over, I said, oh my God, they're going to run them down here and do something, but they didn't. So I got by that.
We didn't have Nakamura tonight. We didn't have Charlotte Flair tonight. We didn't have Sasha Banks tonight. And honestly, I didn't miss any of them. And that's not a knock on them. It was just nice to see some fresh faces.
It was.
They would have done better stuff with them. But again, the one thing that I'll say that WWE absolutely nailed is King Wood's new music. His new solo theme song, the first one that he's had since he's been on the main roster, that thing slaps. I love the hell out of that new theme song for him, and I'm so happy he has it. I'm so happy for Xavier Woods and everything they got going for him. I wish they had more on the line than bending the knee tonight, but that seems like a Xavier Woods kind of a thing.
And then they didn't even pay that off, though.
No, they didn't.
And no one bent the knee.
They didn't even push it through the show that much.
No.
Well, they sure as hell did on commentary during the match. How many times did Michael Cole say it?
But that was the match going on. You got to know about top of the hour what is coming up. And they had a good match. They did.
Xavier Woods can work.
Xavier and the kid, they had a good match.
Oh, by the way, the one thing that we didn't talk about, the match between McIntyre and Ricochet.
Yep.
Until Silver and Cole, that was my favorite match of the dang night.
That was a very good matchup, especially that finish.
No,
that finish was incredible.
They did some good stuff there.
The moonsault into the Claymore.
Oh,
that's probably the best Claymore yet.
Oh, easily. And here's the thing: most of that's on Ricochet. It's just timing for Drew on that one. Everybody talks about the Matt Sydal, RKO for Randy Orton. All Randy had to do is
I don't. Okay, if I'm doing a somersault, which I've never done, and I would never do it, but you gotta be doing the move and expecting the kick at the same time.
Yeah,
we saw.
That's a 10 on that move.
Yeah, we saw Riddle do this with Sheamus at WrestleMania, and it was awesome, but it didn't quite click. And Riddle got busted open pretty damn good off of that kick. This one was perfect, just executed to perfection. My hope is that finally somebody is going to look at Ricochet and see what he can do and actually carve out a role for him, something for him to do of some significance on this damn program.
Well, let me ask you something. What has been his problem?
He's not the best on the microphone.
He was okay tonight.
Okay. Yeah, that's the thing. That's about as good as Ricochet gets.
But tonight, all he had to do was he had a story to tell, and they laid that out good, and he got in the ring, and he told the story. Now, if he's standing there and they say, oh, do this interview about and make it all up, he had somebody to bounce off of, and that helped him because I've heard that too. He's not a good talker, but tonight he was fine.
Yeah, he was great.
And I kind of believed it. And when he said, I'll have to reach across and slap you, I guess that shocked people because that's not the way he usually talks, I imagine, right?
No, it was it was weird. That was the thing that didn't make sense to me, is just sticking from a strict heel babyface standpoint. And I know not everybody's, 100% good and 100% bad, but that was a heel move to do. And then he didn't do anything else heel for the rest of the dang match. It was almost like, all right, I'm just going to go out there and piss off Drew McIntyre, and then we're going to have a babyface versus babyface match. Still, it worked.
I didn't view it as a heel move, honestly.
No, I didn't either.
I viewed it as a babyface that's standing up for himself or being a little bit more aggressive because he's on a new show. I didn't think it was a heel move at all.
I like what he said when he went out there. He said, you're going to keep challenging people, and one of these days, somebody's going to come up out here and they're going to rock the boat or whatever. And that made him a little more forceful. And then when he come up and he slapped him, I got the people into it, because if they had just started wrestling, it would have bombed right off the bat. But with the jump start, the big slap, they got them going.
It would have been better if it wasn't the 9th promo of the night at this point for the third match.
Rick never stops complaining, does he?
It's
one complaint after another. Well, oh my God.
It was just a really good matchup.
How did your wife?
How
did your wife put up with you, Rick?
I unplugged my headphones. I can't hear shit right now. Hang on. What was the question?
How did your wife put up with you?
I don't know. I've been asking that for 9 years. One of these days, I'm gonna wake up and be, damn, I finally screwed it up. I've been waiting every damn day. She has chosen a life of slumming it. God love her.
Well, good. So
What a woman.
Tell her my sympathies are with her.
Mine too. I couldn't put up with my dumb ass. I mean, I mean that sincerely. All right.
So,
is there any final thoughts tonight, guys, on either SmackDown?
What was your famous part of SmackDown when it ended?
It would have to be. It would have to have been everything that Xavier Woods did, and then the Claymore kick for sure.
That was good. I have to agree. The Xavier match was very good. Who did he work with? Jay?
Jimmy.
Jim? John?
James?
Jiminy Uso.
Young James. Young James. How did Kofi pronounce it? Uso? Young James Uso?
Young James Uso. And then they just settled on Jiminy Uso.
And that was good. And what was your favorite part of the AEW show?
Pretty much all of it.
Punk in Kingston was my favorite.
Yeah, that was the favorite. That was the high spot of it.
It was just a better show all around.
So if you had to rate the SmackDown show on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, where would you put it, Rick?
6.
Okay.
6.
Sid?
I went 5 last week. This was a 6 out of 10.
I'll put it at a 5. AEW, where would you put them?
I thought this was actually I thought last week was really good because of the 2 matches to start off. I felt like this was a more complete show because of the promo segment. So I went 7 out of 10, I think, last week. I'll go 8 out of 10 for Rampage.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
8.5.
Really?
I'll price is right the hell out of Sid right now. I'll go 8.5.
All right, I'm gonna go lower. I'm gonna go 6.5.
Wow. Tough judge. Tough crowd.
I am a tough judge.
Tough judge.
Because I expect perfection. Now, when they can get there, I'll reward them. But it was a good show.
Dun.
Hey, I loved Kingston and Punk. That might have got the 7 out of the 8 that I gave.
Well, okay, I forgot. Actually, forgot. I'll give it a 7.
Okay, I was gonna say, God damn.
But that part of the show would actually get a 8.5.
Oh yeah,
just that part.
Yeah.
After the part that Rick didn't like.
Correct. Yeah.
The part that just lulled there a little bit. Then when they got into it, he liked it better.
Exactly.
So.
All right. Well, we do appreciate everybody who chimed in. DJ Eric, Punk Kingston promo was 5 out of 5. We do appreciate everybody who chimed in. The super chat, everybody who engaged with the show. We really appreciate you guys sticking with us for the full hour and 20 minutes. Dutch, what you got going on? Where can they follow you?
Nothing. Hey, I'm retired, guys. I don't really have nothing going on. I am going to be doing some signings coming up in the next couple of months.
Nice.
And the reason I haven't done it because they make me afraid to fly now, but everybody putting the mask on and fighting and all this kind of stuff. So, but I may be up in the Northeast here in maybe late November, early December. I'll keep everybody appraised of what I'm doing. Now, this is between my court appearances, of course, but I won't bring that up. So,
which states are you not allowed in again, Dutch?
Several. Nevada and New Mexico is one. I won't say what happened out there, but it was me and my old buddy Jack Swagger. We kind of ran afoul of the law, and so we were asked not to come back ever. So, and I haven't. So if anybody wants to book me in New Mexico or Colorado, Arizona, or wherever I said, don't book me because I can't go. Just thought I'd tell you.
Sid, you got your show tomorrow. Who's the big guest tomorrow?
Yes, join us for True Hill Heat 150 at 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel with special guest BodySlam.net's own Cassidy Haynes. So we're gonna be talking about this week's WWE releases, Jon Moxley entering himself into rehab, and the week that was from professional wrestling. So check it out, True Hill Heat.
You know,
let me ask you one question. Why did Mr. Khan of AEW? Why did he announce the news that Moxley was going into rehab?
Because Moxley basically gave him permission to be the one to say it himself, because he was getting basically written off of because he was in the tournament and stuff. So somebody had to tell us that he was getting pulled from the show. So Moxley basically gave Tony Khan permission to do it.
And this is for... Is it for drinking, or is it? Does anybody know?
Drinking.
Okay.
Within the first 4 pages of his book, he called himself a borderline alcoholic when and that was written several months ago. So I mean, yeah, he's been having some issues for a while, and he decided to get help, which was a tremendous thing. And
well, I knew he drank, and I'm thinking, I don't think it's for drugs, because I never knew him to do drugs, but he did drink. I mean, he slammed it down, buddy. He was
read his book. He's done some stuff.
He describes how to smoke crack, I think.
Yeah, no, he describes what smoking crack was like. But he did say don't smoke crack.
Did he smoke crack or not? In the book, does he say?
Yeah.
So he did smoke crack? Oh, nobody's answering me.
I got it.
He smoked crack, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Well, at least he admitted it, and now he's going to.
I don't think he smokes crack anymore. I think right now it's just the alcohol.
Let me ask you, Rick. Have you ever smoked crack?
I have not. No.
Sid?
I have not.
Be truthful.
I have not. I haven't done crank. I haven't done any of the harder drugs.
Have you done cocaine?
No.
Rick?
I've never even seen it.
Really? No. Well, you little peas.
Hey, I've seen cocaine. I just never done it.
Dude, I live in suburbia outside of Cincinnati. Ain't a lot of just cocaine floating around out there.
And
hey, this is the only wrestling show.
We do heroin no, I'm kidding. I don't know.
Crank. He does that crank. Oh man, we
really do have a heroin problem in our area, and fentanyl because it's being laced with fentanyl, which is why I don't do this crap. This is what I get to know, by the way, being a news guy on a regular basis. I just get to know all the terrible crap that goes on in my city. Crank. Oh, anyway, what a great way to close out the show. Fantastic.
Stuff. Yeah. Hey, we'll have some drug tests next week, ladies and gentlemen, to share with you.
Yeah.
So
full results. Hey, Sid, you know what you should do tomorrow on your show? You should talk about the releases.
Yeah, I need someone to remind me that.
How many people ask you that today, Rick?
Ask me that or tell me that?
I told you that.
A few.
And remember, guys, to put your comments down below. You're watching us on demand, and drop a like so Dutch can have a whole new show where he can be asked about releases.
Yeah, I just want to talk about releases. That's all I want to talk about.
This is becoming more annual than AEW's pay-per-view schedule. we get a mass exodus from at some point. They got to reach an end game, right?
But let me ask you this now: all these releases, where are they going?
That's what I'm saying. What's the end? Oh, you mean the people who
I mean, where are the people released? What are they going to do?
Ring of Honor just let go everybody in their entire company. We don't even know if they're coming back. They say they're coming back.
One less place people can work.
Yeah. So you got Impact, MLW. You've got AEW, obviously, but they got a big bench already.
Oh yeah, where are they going to go? They got to let somebody for everybody they take. They got to leave somebody off.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the 128 people that have been released. Okay,
how many?
128.
Oh, I thought you said 128.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did say that.
Yeah, I did say that. If you look at the 128, not counting the 18 that just got released, How many have been signed? Maybe 20 of them? Maybe 30?
Got me. I don't know.
Hasn't been all of them.
There'll be a lot of podcasts with these people. They'll be doing all that, just venting. But anyway, I wish them all luck.
I'll close out the show saying this: support indie wrestling, because there's going to be a lot of really talented, high marquee level people who are going to be doing independent shows for the foreseeable future, because there just isn't enough jobs for these people to go around. You could sit there and say, oh, this person would be great in AEW. They can't sign everybody. And by the way, Sid brought this up earlier. Sami Zayn's contract is coming up. Kevin Owens' contract is coming up. Kyle O'Reilly's contract is coming up. Johnny Gargano's contract is coming up. By the way, Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly worked a dark match tonight ahead of SmackDown.
Yes, they did.
Very interesting.
What's that mean? Nothing.
Well, it
used to mean you were getting called up until Bronson Reed became a thing.
I don't get it. If they don't know what they got in AEW, doing a tryout match is not going to remind them.
Johnny Gargano was on the main roster in 2019. They've seen the guy work.
Yeah, why is he doing a tryout match?
I don't know. Look, I think this is all right. Vince going, can I use him for something? If not, we'll let his contract expire, and that'll be the end of it. Because I don't think you can see it. You can see it with the way that they're turning over NXT 2.0 now. They don't want to keep the old guard there. They don't want to keep the guys that have been there for a while. I'm stunned that Tommaso Ciampa defeated Braun Breaker. I really am that they defeated him at.
How many people do they have in NXT right now?
Oh, gosh.
Any idea, Sid?
They got about maybe 60, 70.
And they released 18?
Well, from NXT, they released maybe 6, 7, 8. Something like that.
Yeah, they didn't cut all 18 from NXT.
Where did they cut them from?
Some were on the main roster already. Some were, most of the cuts were actually from the main roster, or people that haven't been used on NXT as of yet that were probably going to get used.
Or people who were on the main roster and returned to NXT. It is still utterly mind-boggling to me how this company could not find a way to use Ember Moon. Are you freaking kidding me? Now, maybe she didn't want to go back up to the main roster, which I don't blame her, because she lost, 18 months of her career because they told her to go chase the 24/7 title.
Yep.
The hell are we doing?
What do you have Frankie Monet? Frankie Monet. That could have been on the level of like an AJ Styles for the woman, where you put her on the main roster immediately. She doesn't need to go through NXT. But no, she came back. She lost her third match on the brand, and then through six matches for the whole WWE, she's let go. You could have put her on Monday Night Raw, put her with John Morrison, make that an act that worked in Impact Wrestling, that worked in Lucha Underground, that worked everywhere but WWE. Nah, they can't do something that another organization made up.
They can't do that. John Morrison has to meditate and wait for The Miz to get done with Dancing with the Stars.
Yep.
That's what they got to do with John Morrison. That and work him on Main Event. That's what they do with John Morrison. By the way, at least Frankie got 6 matches. Scarlett Bordeaux didn't get any. Didn't wrestle at all for the company. They just parked her in catering, said, "Now we don't need you up there with Karrion Kross."
You know, Rick, I sense a little anger in your voice. You need to calm down a little bit.
Oh, you should have seen me on Inside Cradle. We decided to go live Thursday night. And that, Dutch, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I'm an overly emotional person.
You are.
I am. I
swear to God, I think I've seen some tears trickling down, and he quickly wiped them. I'm blind anyway, so he quickly wiped them away. But I could tell
Dutch, honestly, these lights are bright, so that's probably what you were looking at there. Just it kind of blinds me. But man, in the moment, I get pretty heated.
Yeah, you do.
I'm not gonna apologize for it. It's just who I am. Damn it.
We made a long trip with you. We'd have to pull over after about 100 miles and just beat the crap out of you, calm you down, and then throw you back in the car. And it'd take him about 10 minutes to get worked up again.
I don't think you'd do that because I got worked up. I think you'd do that because I wouldn't stop singing to the damn radio.
That too.
Well, that would play into it heavily. Any more to talk about?
Benjamin asking where Asuka is. Again, we talked about this on Inside Cradle again, which comes out every Thursday at 8 o'clock on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel. She's been out with an arm injury for quite some time now, so she's still a free agent, just like Bayley. Bayley's still with the company. She's a free agent. They're both rehabbing injuries. Hopefully, they'll be back sooner rather than later. I think I did see a report that internally Asuka is listed as a Raw superstar right now, but that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
That don't mean nothing either.
It don't mean a damn thing.
That's words.
I think they could use her on SmackDown right now a hell of a lot more than they could use her on Raw, to be completely honest. Or they could book Toni Storm. Why don't we meet back here next week, 11:05, and see if Toni Storm was on the show? How does that sound?
Good. Let's do it. And since you brought up Toni Storm, now you've jinxed her. They'll probably release her next week. Just because you said something about her.
I think next week I'll just be popping in because I'll be in Minnesota for Rampage. So I'll pop in from the arena.
So you're leaving me.
See this?
You leave me with this psycho.
I'm going to be on location. I'm going to be at Full Gear because I'm an AEW shill to some people in the live chat, so I might as well go full throttle with it.
All right, good. We'll get it from you.
I don't know where these people got it that you're an AEW shill. I don't know where anybody. I don't think anybody on this show has ever called you that.
You're the one that put it in their head. They're mindless. They're mindless sheep to the Rick Ucchino bandwagon that you be spewing out here. You be getting all the big interviews, so they listen to you so much. But I'm the only person on this panel that's family gets paid from the WWE, but I'm the AEW shill. This is some BS.
See what he's like?
Make sure to follow me at Rick Ucchino, RICKUCCHINO, if you're on the Chino bandwagon. Follow Sid at True Heel SP3, and make sure to watch his show when and where again tomorrow, sir?
True Heel Heat YouTube channel, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time. Special guest, Bodyslam.net's own Cassidy Haynes. Join us there and watch the replay of my critically acclaimed, most viewed episode with Dutch Mantell. Dutch Mantell.
Oh yeah, what's that?
More views than Kenny Bolin.
Yes, double the views of Kenny Bolin.
Ooh, hit him with the double.
Double.
Follow Dutch at Dirty D Mantell. We'll be back next week, 11:05 Eastern Standard Time. You've been watching Smack Talk on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Hopefully, we'll find the culprit who stole our video, and we'll have our entrance and everything back next week. We appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful week.